trying to get situated here. Hang on just a minute. Shut the tractor down in a minute. Just trying to get a little area opened up. I'm going to pull right over here. I don't know if I can get... I may be able to turn her around. I'm not going to be able to pull in there like I thought I was. I've got to take all this little stuff down. My mirror here. All right, I hope this thing's filming still. I've been having the worst of luck. Let me check. Make sure the cameras are on. They're on. I think the microphone's working. I got the microphone right up here on my shirt, and I'm planning on doing the video in a way to where what you can see me will be in a smaller field, but I want you to be able to see behind me and in front of me. I'm at the property, a friend of ours' property, in that area through the other camera, not the one that's showing me, but the opposite view is directly in front of the tractor. That's the area that's so doggone weird. But coming down the hill into this, what's behind me is where I've been piling up all the trees at. And that's where every time I'd come down, not every time, but a bunch of times, bringing a load of trees down here to dump off, and I was getting hit with sticks coming from there. Let me see if I can adjust this thing. It may be a little noisy. The camera shakes so bad, it's got everything crooked. I think that's as straight as it's going to get anyway for now. I don't have a lot of time. I'm trying to work on this today, and I got woke up again at 4 o'clock this morning, and I'm miserable, folks. I'm sorry, but I am miserable. Did I bring my glasses? Yeah, I got them. Okay, we're going to do some shares of articles. Ow. From the tractor. I had to put it in this Apache case. I got this from Harbor Freight. Any of you, if you're happen to look for a good case for a firearm or cameras or whatever you got, and you need a good, reliable case, Harbor Freight sells one made, or it's called an Apache. It's all Chinese stuff, as you know. Anything from Harbor Freight is going to be Chinese, but they are very heavy. They're very heavy cases, heavy duty. I've had 4 of them now. This is the biggest one that I have. They make them much bigger, and I have one. I bought an Apache case for my muzzle loader. That's the one that has taken me 3 years to get. It's a custom muzzle loader, and I actually, instead of just making payments a little at a time until I got it paid off, I'd still be making payments on it now. What I did is I went and I took a loan out to pay it off. It was expensive. It was real expensive. But we live off of the meat that I harvest when I hunt, and I only hunt with muzzleloader. I use crossbow during archery. I used to use regular bow, but when I broke my neck, I tore up my shoulder, and I can't support the weight of the bow out in my left hand as a drawback. My left shoulder is the one that I destroyed, and so I had to go to crossbow, and you crank them. It's got a little crank you turn, and it cranks it up, and it's just like holding a rifle. And if you guys have ever seen me shoot, I put my left elbow against my belly, and I prop the gun up that way. That way there's no weight on my shoulder. I can't hold it out, in front of me. It's not very pleasant. I'll deal with the pain afterwards will last for Normally about 3 days if I extend my arm out real far. But we're going to get into some of this. Let's see where I'm at here. We're just going to kind of do a little bit of everything, just to get some articles out there, give you guys something to listen to other than me talk about things going on in my life. I apologize for that. But you guys pay close attention to the camera. Well, both of them. What's filming in front of me and what's behind me. This area really, really creeps me out. I don't like it. It's beautiful, but it has got a very wicked feeling to it. Let me turn my ringer off on my phone, because as soon as I start it, I'm going to get a call. It always happens. All right. Excuse me. Sounded like a stick just hit the ground right there in front of me. I can hear the birds chirping. It goes dead quiet here every time I'm over here throughout the day, but I haven't seen anything yet. All right. This is titled The Long History of the Rampaging Jersey Devil. The years is 1735 to the present day. The location is the Pine Barrens of New Jersey, Leeds Point, Galloway, Camden, Hamilton, Wharton State Forest, Haddon Heights, West Collingswood, Bridgeton, Millville, Glassboro, Shamong, Bayville, Washington, and Howell Township, New Jersey. Also Bristol and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The information source is hundreds of eyewitnesses' testimony over nearly 200 years. Many news articles and found evidence such as tracks, scratch marks, screams, and many dead, mutilated domestic and farm animals. Without a doubt, New Jersey's oldest, most enduring, and important pieces of folklore is the tale of the infamous Jersey Devil. For nearly 200 years, since 1735, Jerseyans have told tales of this mystical beast that stalks the Pine Barrens and terrorizes local residents. The recurring nature of this story begs a few questions. Why have New Jerseyans embraced this legend so steadfastly and above all others? Is there actually some sort of creature roaming the Pine Barrens of southern New Jersey? And if so, what in God's name is it? The horror begins. Legend has it that in 1735, a Pines resident known as Mother Leeds found herself pregnant for the 13th time. Leeds is the name of one of New Jersey's earliest settlers, and many descendants of the Leeds family can still be found throughout New Jersey to this day. Mother Leeds was not living a wealthy lifestyle by any means. Her husband was a drunkard who made few efforts to provide for his wife and 12 children. Reaching the point of absolute exasperation upon learning of her 13th child, she raised her hands to the heavens and proclaimed, "Let this one be a devil." Mother Leeds went into labor a few months later on a tumultuously stormy night, no longer mindful of the curse she had uttered previously regarding her unborn child. Her children and her husband huddled together in one room of their Leeds Point, Galloway, New Jersey home, while local midwives gathered to deliver the baby in another. By all accounts, the birth went routinely, and the 13th Leeds child was a seemingly normal baby boy. Within minutes, however, Mother Leeds' unholy wish of months before began to come true. The baby started to change and metamorphosed right before her very eyes. Within moments, it transformed from a beautiful newborn baby into a hideous creature unlike anything the world had ever seen. The wailing infant began growing at an incredible rate. It sprouted horns from the top of its head, and talon-like claws tore through the tips of its fingers. Leathery bat-like wings unfurled from its back, and hair and feathers sprouted all over the child's body. Its eyes began glowing red, and as they grew larger in the monster's gnarled and snarling face, the creature savagely attacked and killed its own mother, and then turned its attention to the rest of the horrified onlookers who witnessed its hideous transformation. It flew at them, clawing and biting, voicing unearthly shrieks the entire time. It tore the midwives limb to limb, maiming some and killing others. The monster then knocked down the door to the next room where its own father and siblings, covered in fear, and attacked them all, killing as many as it could. Those who survived to tell the tale then watched in horror as the rotten beast sprinted to the chimney and flew up it, destroying it on the way and leaving a pile of rubble in its wake. The creature then made good its escape into the darkness and desolation of the Pine Barrens, where it has lived ever since. To this day, the creature known varyingly as the Leeds Devil and the Jersey Devil claims the pines as its own and terrorizes any who are unfortunate to encounter it. Further encounters. In the 1700s and 1800s, the Jersey Devil was spotted sporadically throughout the Pine Barrens region, frightening local residents and any of those brave enough to traverse the vast, undeveloped expanses of New Jersey's southern reaches. Unearthly wails were often reported emanating from the dark forests and swampy bogs, and the slaughter of domesticated animals would invariably be attributed to the Phantom of the Pines. Over the years, the legend of the Leeds Devil grew occasionally, even overstepping the boundaries of its rural Pine Barrens to terrorize local towns and cities. Can y'all hear those footsteps? I can see 50 yards that way and there's nothing. There's nobody there. I mean, it's big trees, but there's... whatever that was, if it were to be hiding behind a tree, I would have seen it. I would have seen it going between trees. I'm spooked now. Sorry, guys. I'm gonna try to stay with it, and if I keep getting creeped out, we'll just finish this somewhere else. I got a pile of rubble up here, a pile of trees and brush. And it sounded like it was close to that. Oh, all right. The terrifying events of 1909. The most infamous of these incidents occurred during the week of January 16th through the 23rd of 1909. Early in the week, reports starting emerging. Early in the week, reports starting. I think it's supposed to be started. Early in the week, reports started emerging from all across the Delaware Valley that strange tracks were being found in the snow. The mysterious footprints went over and under fences, through fields and backyards, and across the rooftops of houses. They were even reported in the large cities of Camden, New Jersey, and Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Panic immediately began to spread, and posses formed in more than one town. Fear and intrigue grew even greater when it was reported that bloodhounds refused to follow the unidentified creature's trail in Hamilton, New Jersey. Schools closed or suffered low attendance throughout lower New Jersey and in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Mills in the Pine Barrens were forced to close when workers refused to leave their homes and travel through the woods to get to their jobs. Witnesses described the Jersey Devil in all sorts of ways. Some said it was 3 feet tall, while others said 6 feet tall. Some said it had a ram's head, and others said it possessed monkey hands, while some claimed it looked like a kangaroo. Everyone agreed it walked on 2 legs and had leathery wings and a nasty disposition. Eyewitnesses spotted the beast in Camden, New Jersey and Bristol, Pennsylvania, and in both cities, police fired on it, but did not manage to bring it down. A few days later, it reappeared in Camden, New Jersey, attacking a late-night social club, then flying away. On January 21st of 1909, the devil attacked a trolley car in Haddon Heights, frightening the passengers inside. Witnesses claimed it looked like a large flying kangaroo. Another trolley car full of people saw it in Burlington, New Jersey, when it scurried across the tracks in front of their car. Shortly afterward, it appeared in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and supposedly began spitting fire at a frightened housewife. Hours later, the devil landed atop a house in West Collingswood, New Jersey, and was described as an ostrich-like creature. Firefighters tried to knock it off with a water hose, but that only made the devil mad, and it attacked them, then flew away. Wanting revenge, the beast spread its wings and dive-bombed people on the streets. The entire week, people reported that their livestock, particularly their chickens, were being slaughtered. This was most widespread in the towns of Bridgeton and Millville, New Jersey. Later, it appeared in Camden, New Jersey, where a local woman named Mary Sorbinsky found the beast attempting to eat her dog. She hit it with a broomstick and it flew away, saving her dog. More recent encounters. While there has not since been another week to match the frequency, fervor, and intensity of the January 1909 rampage, numerous sightings of the Jersey Devil have continued to be reported to this day. The tale of the devil has spread beyond the Pine Barrens and has been embraced by all of New Jersey, even to the point where it has largely commercialized. The devil is portrayed in toys, on t-shirts, and is even the subject of his own feature film. Most famously, the devil has lent its name to New Jersey's NHL hockey team. There are still many, however, who believe that the Jersey Devil is a very real, very dangerous creature. There has been a constant stream of reports over the years of devil encounters. Most often, people report finding strange, unidentifiable tracks in the sandy soil in desolate areas of the Pine Barrens. Some reports claim that they are the footprints of a strange bird. Others say that they closely resemble hoof prints, although whatever it is, walks on just 2 legs. There have even been a substantial amount of reports that describe the tracks as being cloven, a well-cited description of the feet and hooves of a more famous devil Satan. While less frequent, there are still occasional reports of people who see more than just tracks and manage to catch a glimpse of the Jersey Devil himself. He is most commonly described as having the body of a kangaroo, the head of a dog, the face of a horse, large leathery wings, antlers similar to those of a deer, a forked reptilian tail, and intimidating claws. While some Jerseyans embrace their devil as nothing more than a quaint figment of our collective imagination, a source of unification and pride, and a unique and important piece of New Jersey culture, others see it as a very real creature and a threat to their safety. Still others who have sworn they did not believe in the existence of the Jersey Devil have made their minds changed after just spending one moonlit night in the Pine Barrens. There, where a ghostly mist drifts across the cedar swamps and the unearthly cry of some unseen creature can be heard, piercing the stillness of the dark forest. Few disbelievers can be found. Whether it's deep in the Pine Barrens or deep in the collective unconscious, one thing is certain: the devil lurks in New Jersey and most likely always will. Mary Ritzer Christensen's Pale Moonlight Encounter of 1972. This has haunted me since it happened in '72. I was a senior at what was then Glassboro State College. I had heard about the Jersey Devil when I came to South Jersey, but being from North Jersey, a different world, I thought I was far too sophisticated to believe in such humbuggery. One winter night, I was driving to Glassboro, New Jersey, from Blackwood on Green Tree Road. At the time, the road was flanked by orchards and farms. There were few homes, and there was hardly any development. I was completely sober and awake when I caught a glimpse of something in my rearview mirror. Curious as to what it could have been, I slowed down to take a look. It was dark out, but moonlit enough that I had no trouble at all discerning the upright figure of a creature crossing the road from one side to the other, roughly 25 feet behind my car. The figure stood taller than a man by far and had thick haunches similar to a goat's, supporting its nearly human-looking torso and huge woolly head. It moved heavily and didn't seem at all disturbed by me being there. I didn't linger long enough to see much more. I hit the gas and flew to the Mansion Park Apartments in Glassboro, New Jersey. So petrified was I that I slept the rest of the night in the car, unwilling to get out in the same darkness that had introduced me to the Jersey Devil. Never again from that day on have I ridden on Green Tree Road, day or night, that I haven't gotten the heebie-jeebies, just thinking about that winter night so long ago. She signs Mary Ritzer Christensen. I'm going to try to finish this one up, and that's going to be it. There's something moving around right here to the left of me, and it's just kind of got me a little, it's hard to focus on what I'm doing. Keith's Camping Nightmare. Now we got a jet going overhead. I'm going to wait till it passes. I don't know if this microphone is going to pick it up. This is a lavalier mic. I got it mounted on my shirt right here. Alright, sorry about that. Sorry about all the disruptions. Alright, Keith's Camping Nightmare. I spent a lot of time in the Pine Barrens when I was growing up in New Jersey, and I had my share of strange experiences. When I was about 13, I went camping alone near Hampton Furnace, Chemung, New Jersey. I had a bow with me and went looking for a rabbit dinner about an hour after sundown, or an hour before sundown. Something started following me back in the trees. It tailed me back to my camp and circled while I cooked my dinner. This kept up until about 2 hours after dark, and let me tell you, it was one dark night. I finally decided that my visitor had moved on and crawled into my tent. When I just started to calm down, I heard a foot stomp down right behind the tent. I got all set to jump out when this thing, whatever it was, started screaming. I would compare the volume of the scream to a large truck's horn. I couldn't decide what to do. I had my bow and knife, but they didn't seem like much protection. After several blasts, it just stopped. I didn't hear any sound except my heart for about an hour. I was sure that if I stuck my head out of the tent that I'd lose it. In the morning, I could find no tracks in the pine needles. To this day, I still don't like sleeping in tents. I'd rather take my chances in the open. Signed, Keith. That whistle's coming from, it sounds like it's coming from ground level. Heck, that right there. Kelly's Pine Barrens Stalked Terror. As a native of Cape May County, New Jersey, I've had the typical rite of passage trip to the Pine Barrens, the legendary home of the Jersey Devil. This Jersey girl went to Cape May County Technical High School, which sponsored trips to the Pine Barrens for good grades in certain classes. I was one of the fortunate students to go 3 times during my 4-year career at CMCT. Each time I went on this trip, my canoe was followed by a heavy-footed thing. With each step, I heard branches snap under its heavy feet or hooves. Every 10 minutes or so, I could hear deep, beastly growls that to this very day give me the creeps. Being in a canoe and on a class trip didn't afford me much opportunity to flee in terror, so I stuck it out for 3 years. Every year it was the same. During my sophomore year, I was pretty confident about my canoeing skills, so I didn't look over my shoulder much. I went canoeing with a friend of mine, and when we came across a bag that had been tore open and gone through, around it were prints on the ground that looked something like a horse's hoof, only bigger. Then I heard it, the cry that still haunts my dreams, part human, part beast, and full of anger and hate. I nearly flipped the canoe. We left, leaving whatever it was out there behind, or so I thought. It seemed to follow us. Wind's starting to blow now. It seemed to follow us. Every time we stopped or paused, it got closer to the river. We pushed on. Then worse came to worse as we tipped the canoe. I heard the thing running behind us and thought for sure we were dead. Then we righted our canoe and got into it as fast as humanly possible. We finally made it out to safety, sun-fried to a crisp, missing all of our valuables and most of our clothes, but never happier to be on shore. We packed up our bus and left. As we were leaving, I rested my head on the window and saw a little cottage. I looked at it until the bus was about to pass it and saw a woman. She looked back at me and I could see her skin was torn and bleeding. After the bus passed, she vanished. It scared me so badly I wouldn't go into the woods for a year. That movement's coming from in front of the tractor. Y'all keep a close eye on the other screen, the one on the right side, the bigger one. There's something, maybe an animal, hopefully. Sunny Z's Route 9 Devil Crossing. Let me tell you of a sighting of the Jersey Devil. I was driving up Route 9 in Bayville, New Jersey at around 10 p.m. There were 2 cars in front of me and we were traveling about 35 miles per hour. To the right of Route 9 is a mini mall type building with woods behind it. To the right is all woods. All of a sudden I saw this big thing running across Route 9. It looked like one of the classic pictures of the Jersey Devil. It had no tail, no fur, its ribs showed, and it had a long, odd head with short ears that laid back. It looked almost 10 feet tall. I noticed it because the first car stepped on its brakes, as did the second car. When I looked ahead, I saw this thing galloping across Route 9 and straight into the woods. I was not really scared because it did not register yet. I stopped to mail something in the mailbox about 300 feet from the main road, and I saw a child's shirt, shorts, and one sneaker lying on the ground. I mailed my letter, ran into my car, and laid rubber all the way home. I was certain I had seen the Jersey Devil. No one believes me. They say it was a deer. I've never seen a deer that big, that fast, or that weird looking in my life. What is really creepy is that the other 2 people driving in front of me stepped on their brakes, so they must have seen it too. Signed, Sonny. Megan's Pine Barrens Camping Screamer. I actually have 2 stories about the Jersey Devil. The first one is my own experience. As a little kid, my parents took my family camping every summer around the Pine Barrens. One night as we all slept in a big tent, I woke up to the sound of what, to me, was like a woman screaming. It was a blood-curdling scream over and over again, but I was the only one awake. I thought, being the naive child I was, that a woman was being attacked by a wolf. I don't know where I got that conclusion, but it must have been from the screams. No one believed my story ever. As I got older, I became more interested in the Jersey Devil legend. Many of the stories were people talking about the screams they hear in the pines at night. As they described them, I got chills because I knew what they were talking about. I am really uncomfortable here. A few years ago, I was talking to my uncle from Pomona, New Jersey, and he compared what I described to as what he has also heard growing up in the pines. This leads me to my other story, which is his experience. He said that when he was growing up, he had this dog that would stay by him all the time as he played out in the woods and fields around his house. One day while he was on his porch, he could hear those same screams coming from deep in the woods, and his dog scrambled back to the porch with his tail between his legs and never left the porch again. As hard as he tried, my uncle could not get his once faithful dog to follow him into those woods. So maybe this isn't any hard evidence, but it sure is weird. There is no doubt in my mind that something exists out there. She signs off, Megan. Chief Forest Ranger Alan McFarlane's gruesome find in 1980 and a 1981 encounter. Alan McFarlane, Chief Ranger of the Wharton State Forest in New Jersey for over 20 years, relates a story that happened in 1980. He had gone to a farmer's house near Jenkins, New Jersey, where he came upon 4 pigs that were lying dead close to their pen. The back of their heads had been eaten out, and there were scratches all over their bodies. There were no tracks or blood on the ground. The ranger had no explanation of what had happened. According to the Ashbury Park Press of October 1988, a man who lived in the Howell Township encountered the devil in 1981. He described the creature as having a furry body, huge feet with 3 toes on each one, large teeth, and stood about 6 feet tall. Frank T's Pine Barrens Camping Screamer. This is getting really hard to read, guys. I'm sorry. In the late 1980s, a couple of my friends and I took a camping trip to the Pine Barrens. I was unaware that we were headed to the home of the Jersey Devil. We headed out on our bikes and did our share of partying that night. The next day, while everyone was asleep, 3 of us decided to hit the trails a bit earlier than usual. We were about 100 yards away from the woods when my bike stalled out. I looked and found that my friends had stalled also. At first, I thought it had to do something with the terrain, or maybe something to do with the nearby power plants. 50 feet away from each other, we tried to start our bikes, when suddenly from the woods we heard the most horrible, piercing scream. It sounded inhuman, like something being tortured. Once back at camp, they asked us if we had heard screams earlier. They had heard them too, 4 miles away. That night we headed to a local town because we ran out of booze. We went into a bar and I ordered a drink, still in shock from what I had heard that morning. The bartender asked, "Hey kid, what did you see, a ghost or something?" After I told him the story, he smiled and said, "It looks like you met our little friend." He then asked us to come out back. He showed us a tin garbage can that was shredded to bits. It looked like the shreds were made from something with 3 claws. I have never returned to the Pine Barrens, and I do not plan to go back. Signed, Frank T. And guys, I got a bunch of pictures with this one. I'm not going to share them right now. I'm getting really, really creeped out. I don't know if y'all can hear the sounds are not around me. Something moving up here. There was very, very clear. It sounded like a person walking. Very heavy steps just right up here. Somewhere between 30 and 50 foot from me. It sounded like they were walking, coming from like in front of the tractor and going back to the rear of the tractor, and they stopped somewhere straight across from me. But I haven't heard them leave. Whatever it is either hiding behind a tree up there. I mean, some of these trees are big. I don't know if you can see any of them. I don't know if there's any big ones behind me or not. Guys, I'm gonna move, okay? I'm just gonna go up here a little further, because this has really got me spooked. I don't like this at all. This property's got some really weird stuff going on it, and it's not far from our property, from our home. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna I'm not gonna put everything away. I'm gonna leave the cameras running. I'm just gonna plow through this stuff up here. I've got another little trail right over here. I thought I could push through it right here, but my posi traction is way out of adjustment on here, and I need to get it fixed, so I have no posi traction right now. It tries to lock in, but it pops back out, and my pedal for it is almost touching the floorboard. It's just sitting there. So just hang on just a second. We're just gonna scoot up here, not far. I just want to get away from where I heard the footsteps, because that's got me a little spooked. All right. I'm gonna have to clear some trees out of the way. The opening's not far from us. It's just right there, but I can't get through it because it's this huge oak tree that's leaned over. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Traction at all. Trying to get rid of this tree that's stuck on my bucket. Come on, get out of there. Hung up and it's not coming off. That'd be right. Almost out. right down here, this little bottom. There we go. All right, sorry about that. I wanted to get out of that area. That was really creeping me out. Let's see if we can see how long this one is. All right, this is a short one. So we're gonna knock this one out real quick. That sounded like a tree knock. And that's back down there where we just left from that way. That sounded just like a tree knock. Hope it was not. I hope it was something that I pushed down maybe. All right. This is the Demon Cat of Washington, D.C., year 1862 to present day. The location is the Capitol Building in Washington, the District of Columbia. Information source is multiple eyewitness accounts. Washington, D.C. is full of goblins and ghouls. Most of these creatures are called politicians. Amen to that. But there's one nasty beast prowling around Congress that doesn't care about winning votes. It only wants to scare victims with its glowing eyes and razor-sharp claws. It's hurting my eyes. Let me grab my glasses. Get an eye strain. Ooh, that's better. Where's that? All right, it only wants to scare victims with its glowing eyes and razor-sharp claws. Locals call this phantom panther creature the Demon Cat, or DC for short. It is said to be a portent of doom. The sightings begin. The story of this mysterious cat has its beginnings during the early days of the Capitol. At the time, staff members, lawmakers, and workmen often brought food into the building with them. It was said one might find anything from live chickens to cold cuts of pork in an office. So it was no surprise that the Capitol began to experience a rat problem. Some of the workmen began bringing cats to act as mousers, and the felines soon become a daily part of the Capitol's activities. As they killed off the rats, the cats were needed less and less. Many of them were taken home to become household pets, while others simply wandered off into the nearby neighborhoods. As the years passed, the cat population dwindled to nothing except for one unusual cat that stayed around for nearly 160 years now. Since 1862, this phantom cat has reportedly been prowling the darkened corridors of the Capitol building, carefully choosing when to appear and whom it wants to harass. It reappears most frequently in the basement underneath the Senate, close to the storage room that holds the framework surrounding Lincoln's coffin. The Demon Cat, as it has been dubbed, always waits until its victim is alone and the hour is late. Some members of the security service that patrol the Capitol shudder when they think of encountering the cat, having heard the tales of previous instances when the cat has appeared. Such encounters say the victims can be traumatizing. One victim, a security guard, recounted an experience that he had on a cold night in January 1898. He was walking down a dark hallway and saw a shadowy cat come gliding toward him in the gloom. As the animal came closer, it seemed to grow bigger and bigger. The man rubbed at his eyes, sure that what he was seeing was an optical illusion, and then he realized it was true. The cat really was getting bigger. Sorry, I'm hot, real hot. He froze in place, paralyzed as he gazed into the creature's glowing eyes. The cat came closer to him still growing until it was nearly the size of a tiger, the man later claimed. Then suddenly it let out a tremendous roar and jumped toward him with its claws extended. The guard tried to scream, but he couldn't move. He covered his face with his arms and waited for the monster's body to collide with his own. He finally let out a scream, and then nothing happened. The demon cat had vanished into thin air. The trembling guard was once again alone in the corridor. His body was covered with sweat, and he forced himself to breathe normally again. Finally, when he had pulled himself together, he went back to his desk for the night. He never finished making his rounds that evening. Over the years, there have been many reactions reported to those who encounter the demon cat. Some have fainted, and some have ran screaming from the building. Others, like the security guard, claim to have simply been paralyzed with fear. Rumor has it that many years ago, an appearance by the demon cat actually caused an elderly guard's fatal heart attack. In conclusion, as scary as the cat may be, though its mere appearance is not the reason that so many dread encountering it in the dark halls of the Capitol. They fear the cat because of its accuracy as a harbinger of doom. This phantom feline always appears just before a national tragedy or on the eve of the changing of an administration. This monster allegedly popped up before Abraham Lincoln was shot in 1865, before the stock market crash of 1929, and before JFK was assassinated in 63. It has not shown up in recent years. Many who work here will joke about the cat or scoff at the reality of the legend, but no matter what they might say, congressmen, staff workers, maintenance personnel, and security guards alike all walk the corridors of the Capitol in fear of encountering the demon cat. That's wild. Well, folks, that's all I'm going to do for today, or for right now. I got all of these are articles and information and some very fascinating stuff we're going to be sharing. I'm going to try to get this uploaded and to where you guys have something to listen to between now and when I put up the next show. I hope I can do it tonight. I'm tired and I don't see that really happening, to be honest. But all I can do is try. But folks, I love you all. God bless you. Thank you for hanging out with me if you made it this far. I'm fixing to take this thing. I got a trail that I cut. It goes all through the property down here, and then it heads west, and it eventually gets me back up toward the highway. I'm going to get out of here. I'm not going back the way that I come in. That's the better route to take, the easier route. But I get spooked really easy, and when I hear footsteps that clear and that loud and there's nothing there, I'll pass. I don't think I'm even going to do any more work here today. I think I'm done. I can't deal with all that. I'm too tired, and it's got my heart racing. I'm already having enough issues in that department. But y'all have an absolutely phenomenal day today. I pray that the Lord walks hand in hand with each and every one of you, that your families are blessed with prosperity and good health, and that all of you are filled with joy and happiness. Thank you for being a part of our family. And those of you that are new to join our family here, thank you so much for coming over and being a part of us. You are now part of something very special. The people that are here with us are the most powerful, God-fearing folks that you'll ever meet, and we've been very blessed by all of you. And I just want to thank you. The honor goes to all of you, each and every one of you. God bless you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the support and the kindness all of you have shown us. And I look forward to seeing you guys very soon. Y'all be safe in whatever you do. Be blessed in whatever you do. And if there's anything I can do to help you, if you need to get a prayer request out or anything going on, reach out to me on my email. It is standinggoatsrescue@yahoo.com. And I will reply to you as soon as I check it. Normally I check it every evening. I have not done that this past week. I've been so tired the time I get finished up, it's well into the evening, and I'm just too tired to do much of anything. But I will absolutely get it, and I will respond to you. Y'all have a wonderful afternoon. God bless you. I will see you soon. Tight squeeze.